So, if you're anything like me, you're terrible about getting a garden planted, right? It's like you want to get it all planted like a good way, like in a nice set garden. So it's always like, I won't plant it now because I'm going to wait until I get my garden put in. But then getting a whole garden built is like kind of time consuming. So you don't ever actually get the garden built. And then by the time you have time to get the garden built, then it's like, well, but if I plant stuff now, it won't grow in time for harvest. So I guess I just won't plant stuff now, right? Now I thought about this last year because that's what happened to me last year, right? I was gonna get a garden put in and I just didn't. And I started gardening a few things, like small things, and then it was just like, I don't know. It wasn't enough. I didn't have enough in the ground. And then by the time I did get stuff planted in the ground, it didn't grow in time for harvest. And it like kind of weighed on me through the year, right? Especially through winter, because it was like, well, I should have got it in the ground. Should have took an extra hour in the early spring. You know, I could have planted earlier, but we weren't sure if we were going to get snow or not. So I'm trying something new this year, guys. Over winter, I watched a video, okay? And it's this guy, and I wish I could give him credit. I really do. But it's this guy, and he literally like goes to the grocery store and will buy like bags of lentils. And then he'll plant those. But he doesn't plant those, okay? He walks out into the garden with bags of either seeds or other things, and he spreads them. He just openly spreads them around, okay? And essentially what it does, everything won't grow like with the garden, right? Because when you have a garden, you want to plant rows, and you want everything to be the best seed out there, and you hope it grows, and all this crap. So everything won't grow. But what happens is you'll have tighter clusters of the plant growing, like how a plant kind of is supposed to grow, because, you know, we're not a farm, we're not using a tractor to harvest, we don't need perfect rows that fit inside the harvesting forks on the machines, right, on the harvesters. So he just spreads it, and whatever grows, grows. And if one plant chokes out another plant, then apparently that plant was the stronger plant, and that plant's going to grow more. And if something starts to grow and dies off, well, that just creates nutrients for the other plants, and so on and so forth. And I decided that this year I'm going to do that. It's February. Now, there is a chance I'm going to get snow again. There is. But you know what? I would rather get plants in the ground now that might grow, and then if I want to buy fancy seeds later, get a garden put in later, okay. But something might grow, okay? And now last year, I kind of did the same thing on accident. Bought a box of pumpkins, and I left it on the ground, and I forgot about it. And then in the spring, pumpkins started growing, and by the fall, I had a pumpkin harvest. Well, after Halloween, they give away all the pumpkins and squashes at my grocery stores on here, like free, or like 10 for $1. That's the one I had this year, 10 for $1. Okay, so I bought a bunch of pumpkins. I'm talking like a carload of pumpkins. And I was like, I'm going to plant those, or eat them. Either or. If I eat them, I'm going to separate the seeds, and I'll plant those. And if I don't eat them, I'm going to plant them. When I were this spring, and I ate a lot of pumpkins and squashes. One of the squashes that I had got that was kind of an accident was spaghetti squash. I love spaghetti squash. Spaghetti squash usually goes for like $1.50, $2 a pound. So this is like a $5 squash. But I got them for 10 for $1 because they were misplaced in the wrong spot. And I said, do those count? And the guy said, yes, I believe so. I'm the produce manager. I'll write it on a card, and they'll have to give it to you. Okay, so ones like this, they're still pretty solid. I probably could get away with eating it. You can tell when a squash or a pumpkin goes bad because it gets real soft, especially like the stems will like. Will you be quiet, Train? I'm talking. The stems will like pop right off. This one's not bad, okay. But like, if I go back in this bucket down here, like this one, okay, it's soft. It's starting to break apart. So what I'm gonna do, and what I've been doing, is I'm gonna take this squash and I'm gonna go like this. And it's gonna smash into the ground. Now, I've done it all through here. These are all spaghetti squashes. Up there is a bunch of pumpkins. Pumpkins. Freaking Train. Be quiet. I live like half a mile from the train tracks. There's just nothing between here and there. Because it's, you know, winter and I still don't have leaves. So anyways, spaghetti squashes. Pumpkins. If I come over here, I still need to break these apart. I'm going to break them apart and rake them into the ground. Little pumpkins, like the decorative ones. So this is where all those are going to go. But again, I'm going to take this, rake it apart, and rake it into the ground. And over there's some acorn squashes. I got 4 different kinds. An orange one, and a white one, and a green one, and over, hold on, where am I at? Over somewhere, Can't tell on the camera. There's a tricolor one. So that's what I've been doing this whole time. Take pumpkin, take squash, put it on the ground, make sure it breaks. Like this one I just threw, it's broken. And I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna get the rake. And I'm gonna rake everything into the ground. If I go down this way further where I had the pumpkins and other squashes already into the ground, I'll go down here and look. This is a little more aggressive on the raking where I actually got into the ground. But if we get closer, you can see there's seeds in there. There's chunks of pumpkin in there. That's good because it's going to use that nutrients to grow this year, hopefully. I'm going to go down here a little further. I'll go way down here where the other pumpkins are. When I get down here, you got full-size pumpkin pieces. Again, putting them on the ground, raking them up, raking them into the ground. Now, I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but here's what I do know. If I wait until I get in the tractor, well, I would need to buy some sort of a rake or tiller for the back because I don't have one. I'm going to have to buy that, get on the tractor, go through and work this ground, which I can't do if it's too wet. The tractor will dig in. So I'm going to have to wait for it to be drier. Come out here, rake the ground, hopefully kill off a lot of the grass and stuff like that, and then get my plants planted in rows because that's what people do. And then I got to figure out how far apart I should plant pumpkins so they don't, like, you know, go over each other and fight for it. I'm not going to plant them. And I'm definitely not going to get these plants in and then also get like corn and sorghum and all these other things that I wanted to get in the ground. Not going to get them all in the ground. So by doing this, I have probably spent a total of 30 minutes, 45 minutes out here. And I probably could have done it faster if I was like really dedicated, but I was like, I just tossing the pumpkins out. I'll come out like 5 minutes. I'll be like, hey, put a bucket, let me throw some pumpkins in here that are starting to go bad. And I'll come out here and plant them. And because of that, I've planted from the edge of the tree line there, where my neighbor's property is. Well, they own that way. That's up there's all fruit trees along the property line. But from where that barrel is, all the way back to that church pew from when our wedding was over in the fall. All of that has been planted in like 30, 45 minutes. And I'm talking like, 20 feet off of the tree line too. From the tree line, 20 feet out. Now again, is every seed gonna grow? No, it's not. But, some seeds are gonna grow. Now I can't walk over there. Well, let me walk around to the other side. And I'm walking around this electric fence in case anyone's wondering. This electric fence. We had a death in the friendship family. If anybody knows about the friendship family, sometimes you get close with people, close with friendships. They essentially become family. So there was an accidental death in that, and we are going to be inheriting a few sheep and a few guardian dogs. So it's not something we've tackled with our homestead before, but it's something I have been very interested in. I love sheep, and I've wanted sheep. These sheep and dogs are older, so it's not really to get a breeding program to go, which is what I would like to do. It's not really the point. Not really for meat. We'll get wool out of them. They're old world sheep, but it's more so I can experience owning sheep, and then if I decide I like it and I enjoy it, I can buy young sheep and raise them. I did get the fence put up, which it's a 4-line. One there, and there. And I don't know if it's going to be enough. Again, it's just a trial for me. I have another line I can run if I need to. But it's just to experience owning sheep and decide if I want to own sheep. So, anyways. Alright, getting over here, the other side. See this patch over here? This is all, I believe, blackberries. Blackberries, raspberries. I'm not, oh my god, a duck just flew past my face. That duck should be like 25 feet that way inside of a duck pen. And they just decided they were going to escape because over here talking and they want food. Anyways. See this big patch right here of raspberries or blackberries? I'm sure at some point in time that was pinned up. Everyone's like, you got to put posts in and like a wire and pin them all up. There's posts in there, so there's probably posts and a wire and all that. But over time, that patch just continues to grow, and I still go in there and get blackberries. I'm sure birds get some of them because it's all organic and there's no pesticides in there whatsoever. But essentially, this patch is able to maintain itself. I do need to go in there and get rid of weeds, which I've started doing for next year. But what I'm saying is, I don't have it pinned up. I don't have all these other fancy things that a lot of people tell you have to have when you do berry patches. I am started to plant some raspberries right here. that I got for free off a guy because he had a raspberry patch and just dug some up and put them on free on Marketplace last year. They all froze in the winter. I don't know if they'll come back. But you can see some of the plants right here. And I have some more laying around somewhere. I think I'm going to plant a little further down that way. But again, just put them in the ground. I'm done trying to make a whole, like, planter bed. And I'm done trying to, like, take the time to I don't know, like I said, I'm the kind of person who's like, I want to get that done, but I want to do it right. But then if I say that, I'm never going to do it. And I want to get plants in the ground as soon as physically possible. There's a lot of plants you can get in the ground while it's still cold. And they say as long as you're not getting like extreme frost or snow. Well, guess what, guys? Ohio hasn't had an extreme snow after like February in like many years. Now, when I was a kid, I remember it snowing here like all the way into May. Like my birthday is in the beginning of May. And there was times where we had to consider indoor options in case it was super cold or snowy or whatever. It hasn't happened in quite a few years. Some say global warming. I say natural earth rotation as we continue to come out of the ice age. Because again, we're still in a cold period in this part of the country, or in the world in general. We're in a cold period. We're still coming out of the ice age. That's a different thing if you want to get into conspiracies and you know, the effects of global warming or the effects of the Earth's natural order. But yeah, again, from there all the way down, all pumpkins, and I planted them in about 45 minutes. It took me 12 minutes to make this video. 12 minutes. I'm about to go inside. I'm not really going to edit it, so maybe I'll post it off my phone, but I still have to write a description and do all this other stuff. It was going to take me the same amount of time to create and edit and post and make a description for this video as it took me to plant acorn squash right here, acorn squash, little fancy pumpkins, a bunch of spaghetti squash because I like spaghetti squash, and pumpkins down at the end. It's going to take me just as long to make this video. I want you guys to think about that. I think what keeps most people from doing a garden is the time that it takes, and this idea that we have to be out there maintaining it all the time. And don't get me wrong, if we maintain it all the time, more stuff will grow. But here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go in every day. We have garden scraps, or not garden scraps, but kitchen scraps. Like say I have some tomatoes. I'm going to pick a part of the property, and all my tomato scraps are now going to go there. Tomatoes grow. Tomatoes grow. And I get tomatoes. If peppers, I like sweet peppers. Every time I cut a sweet pepper up, and every time a sweet pepper starts to go bad, I'm going to, I got deer poo right there, which means I might have deer eating my squashes. Anyways, fine, I'm getting guardian dogs in that fence right here. So maybe the deer won't eat them. I'll put the fence closer. But anyways, every time I have peppers, peppers are going to get thrown all in the same spot. Every time I have potatoes, the potatoes are going to get thrown all in the same spot. Everything I have tomatoes, tomatoes all in the same spot. I'm essentially allowing the plant to go back to earth if I don't use it. Okay, because I think we get in this mindset like we pick the plant, we bought the plant, take it inside, we use what we can, we just throw the rest of it away. And don't get me wrong, okay? Junkyards, or not junkyards, the dump needs natural material in there. If we all, if no natural material gets to the dump, then it doesn't have the ability to break down the other materials to a point. But I want recirculative? I don't know the word. Anyways, permaculture farming. I want the ability to continue to grow itself. So that's what my plan here is. If I eat a squash, the seeds get thrown back in the squash area. If I don't eat a squash, it gets thrown back in the squash area. And from this day forward, that area right there is going to be the spaghetti squash area. Like spaghetti squash. So all spaghetti squash stuff's going to go in the spaghetti squash area. I probably need to put up ropes. I'll go find some rope and some posts. I'm going to put up some rope. Maybe it's just some trees. You know, I have a lot of down trees. Maybe I'll just take some tree logs and fence it off. So as I'm eating, I can just seeds right back into the ground. I don't know. Make farming easier. Okay, we're not farming for huge profits. every seed doesn't have to become a plant. I'm farming to feed my family, and then, I don't know, maybe I'll put a food stand out here and self-serve, make a couple bucks off of what I'm not going to eat. But essentially, I'm not farming to make the most out of every single inch of ground. And at the end of the day, I want like natural food. I don't want to be spraying a bunch of pesticides. I don't want to buy a bunch of seeds that physically can't be planted. Like, you know, if you go into a cornfield, a lot of them corn seeds are designed and chemically altered, so they can't regrow corn. So a farmer can't replant their fields by themselves. You have to come back and buy it every year. I don't want that crap. And a lot of the crap that we buy at the store, a lot of the seeds that we buy at the little shelves, you know what I'm talking about, if they're not organic seeds, they're probably designed to not regrow. I don't want that. So get out there and plant your property and stop worrying about a perfect garden. Stop worrying about any of that. Put the stuff in the ground. If you go out there and your plants need water, you'll see if the ground's dry. You'll see if the plant is looking a little yellow. Water. Let plants grow and build your property. Okay? Doesn't have to be a direct science. I've been doing it for tens of thousands of years and they work just fine. So yeah, plant it, have fun, garden, build your homestead. Bye.